Hello and welcome to my channel. This is another Valentine's Day card in my Valentine's 2018 card series. This card design is going to be for my daughters. This card is very easy to do, and I'm using some very wide ribbon to bring a little bit of more interest to the card. I want to show you how to make this card, and I will also show you the other cards that I made for my other children. This one is going to be for my daughter Jacqueline. Let me move this out of the way and show you the materials that I needed to make this card. The inks I'm using today is Memento Ladybug and Versafine Onyx Black. I also have Zig Clean Color markers, real brush markers, and these are really good for watercoloring techniques. I'm going to list all of those colors on the comment section down below so that the video doesn't get too long while I go through all those colors. I'm using the following stamps and things. I'm using Small Hearts by the Paper Studio. This is an embossing folder. I have my dollar stamp sets. I have two different sets here. I have Heart Kiki stamp, which is by CC Designs. These are adorable. Here's a picture of her. I'm using Sweet Summer by Stampin' Up. This is one of these celebration items. And I'm also using Something to Celebrate stamp set, also by Stampin' Up. Also, I will be using two distress markers, one in Black Soot and one in Candied Apple. And I will be using the Wink of Stella glitter brush, and this is in red. And I may or may not need it, but I have a small black marker. This is a Micron. I'm also using this ribbon that I got when a craft store was closing up. This ribbon is four yards, and it was originally $5.99, and I got it for 25 cents. So when you're a crafter, you really have to watch out for little deals like that. You never know when you're going to find them. I'm also going to be using a couple of rhinestones. All right, let me move this out of the way and start in making the card. To get started, I want to show you my new nails, which I got in honor of this design. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. Little teeny hearts. And I also trimmed down that ribbon to a piece about 4.5 inches wide. This is bigger than I need, but I wanted to be sure that I didn't have too little. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this larger piece of plain white and run it through my Big Shot machine in this embossing folder. The thing to note is you want to notice the direction that the hearts are going. So if you put it in this way, the hearts will end up being sideways. So you have to, this is something to be careful of when you're running embossing folders. Some of the patterns are directional. So I'm just going to run this through just like this. And now I have this embossed panel. The folder wasn't quite as wide as it needed to be, so there's an area on the above and below that isn't embossed, but that's fine. Now I'm going to bring in my Misty tool, which I've already put my stamp in place on the door, and taking my watercolor panel. My watercolor panel, I'll just put it right here, hold it with the magnet, and stamp this with the Versafine. This card design is really simple. The longest time is going to be on the watercoloring, so there won't be too much of my talking through it. And I got a good impression the first time out the gate. And I also have this little butterfly here. So let me clean this up a little bit because I don't want Kiki to mess up everything. And I don't need to hold that with a magnet. Set this aside for a minute and just quickly ink up that butterfly. Except this is in the wrong place now, so let's move it over a little. I think I trimmed the initial design a little bit. Yeah, I trimmed this a little bit, so there we go. Almost there. And there's her little butterfly. this just needs a quick moment to dry. Moving on. Now I have a second Misty tool, and I have the stamps in place that I want for the front and the mid and the inside. So let's put Kiki back. Make sure this is still in the right place, and it is. Now this is going to be a two-color stamping. So I'm going to first stamp it all over with the ladybug, because I want that heart to be red. Give a good stamping. And now I'm going to take and wipe off the red on the letters carefully so that I don't accidentally mess up the heart. I think you can see that's a little bit out of frame. Sorry. Just make sure that I didn't spill any liquid. I'm going to run over that with a paper towel to make sure it's dry. Now I'm going to easily and carefully ink up those letters. Now this is the tricky part. And this is why I need the Micron markers. So if I don't quite get the letter fully stamped with the ink, I can just go in with the marker and get that little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Just a little bit of area where I'll need to touch up. All right, and now I'm going to bring in the card base and do the inside stamping. Make sure this is dry. I seem to be talking to myself a lot through this. Sorry. And I think I've gotten a little smudges on it. We don't see the smudges. Okay. All right, now that's all the stamping that this design needs. Set that aside. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the watercoloring. Okay, those smudges was bothering me, so I just went ahead and stamped another card base. And I'll use this in some scrap paper that I need. And I also need to tidy up the lettering here. So I got a little bit of not quite on the U. So I'm just going to go in and quickly fix this edge up a little bit with the marker, and no one will be able to see it if I do it well. Okay, that is good. Now, bringing in the colors, I'm going to show how to do the watercoloring, and then I'm going to speed things up so that you don't have to watch the whole process. So I'll just illustrate on the heart. And I need my water pen and some clean paper towels. So you just lay the color right along the edge. You don't need too much of this because it's really a lot of color in this marker. All right, now you take the water and just blend it out. And it will naturally make a highlighted area where you started off white. And don't think it's hard, because it isn't. There you go. All right, I'm going to go through and do the rest of the colors. The rest of the colors. the panel. And I pre-colored the belt and the bow red because I wanted it to be a deeper red than the glitter brush alone would give it. But of course you didn't have to do that step. Now the rest is just assembling the rest of the card. So I'm going to just run through that real quick. Okay, that's the finished card. Really quick, very easy. I flipped the ribbon on this one than this one, but it still looks fine. No one will know except me that I did that. And of course now you'll know that. I'm making this series of cards for my daughters. This one is going to be for my daughter Jacqueline, and each one will be a different color.
Hi, I am the guest host today, the granddaughter of the curator of these lovely cards. I used to be Mr. Shark, but now I'm Mr. Tyrannosaurus Rex. These cards were made for my Aunt Jackie, but there's also one for my mom, one for my Aunt Joanna, and one for my Aunt Jillian. Now I will put them all out so you can see them all together. And I'm gone. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, and I hope you share this to your friends. And don't forget to leave a like if you like it. Oh, and thank you, Uncle David, for making the music. Have a nice day.